When payments vary from period to period, it takes a little bit different approach. Consider a situation where in year one we need there's a new development project, or it's going to take $250,000. Do some development, we have to have some startup costs of facilities and so forth. And then in year two and year three we're going to spend $100,000 a year. In year four we're going to start production. This is the plan. That's going to require additional resources for facilities. And 4,000 we're getting closer to producing, maybe starting to producing whatever with very little income. So these are all expenditures for 5 years. The question is, how much money will we need up front to cover the 5 years of development? And we're going to use a rate of 5% in 5 years. Since they are not equal, we can't use the PV function. We could find a present value of each one of these separately for the different number of years and then sum. But there is a function that's available. It's called NPV, net present value. And to use that, if it's shown here or up here, if I click on here, first argument is the rate. Our rate is in B6, it's 5%, and we want to find the net present value of C4, it's this one, through G4. So we put C4 and G4 separated by a colon, and it comes out to $975,403. So if we can raise $975,403 up front, that will cover our 5 years of development. We take out of that account each time. We earn interest at 5%, so it goes further than it might look like. If you just sum these up, it wouldn't be ample, but we earn some interest along the way. And that's what the net present value. Now the net present value is really, we're going to use in later weeks of the course for proposal evaluations. This is it's really a situation where we want to borrow the money and we want to cover the expenses, and it's a loan annuity. And when you use loans or investment annuities, everything has to come out nice and even, and we use usually the PV and FV, but we can use the NPV, but it has the wrong sign, so we have to prefix the NPV equation with a minus sign when we use it for annuities. So you see here up front it has a negative sign, or if we look at this one you can see the minus sign up there. Note you can also do these without the colon by, here we put in all the values, each one separated by a comma starting with the rate, or you can do it with cell addresses starting with B6, and which is the rate, and then the 5 values, the cell addresses of the 5 values, and they all work the same way. If you took off the quote off of this one, note you always, when you do this, have to get to the end of the thing before you type your enter key. If you don't, for instance, we had this quote here, if I simply backed off and hit the enter key, that time it worked. Sometimes it doesn't. Maybe it's in the middle. I don't know. I always go to the end. When in doubt, go to the end before you hit the enter key. Some eccentricities here that are not always explainable to me. Need to spend time. Let's put it back. Put the quote in, and you can see it can be done that way. And this is how we handle unequal payments. Note, last week we talked about equivalency. Just a little aside here. If we take this present value and say what is that going to be worth at the end, well, we can find the future value using the FV function, and B6 is the rate, B7 is the number of periods, 5 right here, and B9 is the present value. And that just says that these here, if we spend this, that's equivalent to paying back, depositing $1,244,889 at the end instead of these payments. If we did this and put that in the end, but it's not very realistic, but it shows how you can do equivalency. Another equivalent value is the equal payments. What an equal payment would do the same as these 5 unequal payments. Maybe the venture capital says, I won't give you $975,000 up front, but I will give you an equal amount each year. How much would this have to be? Well, the equal payments can be computed using the payment function. The rate B6, click here and you can see they're highlighted. The number of periods in B7, the present value is in B9, and it says that equivalent to 1,244,889 up front would be $225,294 a year. It will come out the same, including the interest return. Now note that this 225 would be short about 25,000 the first year, so you either need a way of moving 25,000 to the second year, or maybe you get a line of credit from a bank or something. If the venture capitalists would guarantee us 5 years of payments, the bank would probably give you a line of credit for 1 year. And then the next year it's only 100,000, so you'd have 125 to pay back that and save up for when you get to these 2 years. And these two, and it should pretty well cover it then. So that's the equal payment. It's equivalent equal payment, and that is something we will see later in the course again. Thank you.